mean, Temesia, we've come to our last session already.
Wow.
I feel like I've learned so much. I always feel like that with every conversation with you. You just like
We,
just give me so much life with
I
everything
feel
you
like
talk.
our conversations always start with a end goal, and that
Yes,
end goal goes further away with a
yes,
whole different vision.
yes.
with,
I
with
feel
a
like
good
that's a
vision, with a
good.
good
Yes,
vision. Yeah.
Life with Liliana and friends.
we kind of take a long way round to get to where we're
Yes.
going, but we've
But
just.
I always come out so refreshed.
I'm glad. So now we're on the last one. So for the viewers, just a reminder, we're going through OCDI. And
Mm.
again, if you missed any of it, please just jump back to Life with Liliana page and see the first session that Temesia did. So some of this will make a bit more sense. You spoke about a lot of other things in the session that will add a lot of value to the learning. So
Mm.
we've been through order and we talked about sequencing, and we also talked about how that's something that is initiated from the parent to
Yes.
bring in order, okay? And
Yes.
it's not order, not a militant style, but it is a sense of order. And
Yes.
then we talked about concentration, which
Mm.
was the big heavy one, and we
Ooh,
almost
that was
went
heavy.
into brain development and neurosurgery. Thank you, Jesus, we didn't. And then, and then discipline.
Mm.
And thank you for teaching me a lot in discipline, because we're not talking about Sasa Broom discipline
Right.
at all. So this is another thing that is from the child,
Mm.
okay? There, and because naturally there will be a sense of discipline, just
Yes.
like a like concentration, okay? So this is something
Mm.
we should observe in our children, encourage, and in all of this, give them the freedom. Give our children the freedom to really bring out who they were created to be. I think that's the
Mm.
biggest challenge for us as
I love that.
parents, because we try and we want them to be a certain way, right?
Mm.
Now we're going to go into independence. So explain to us, please, Timothy, what do we mean when we talk about independence in this
All
context?
right. So, independence. First things first, to all our dear parents out there and caregivers, never help your child with a task at which your child feels they can succeed. Okay, so I will just let that soak in, soak it in. So, I want you to think about certain situations where, like, oh, yeah, my child could have done that, but I was just being a parent and I took over. And I
Yeah,
said, that's not how you do it. This is how you do it. And
yeah,
you took over, right?
yeah,
So, Liliana, the freedom comes in here and the
right,
discipline,
yes,
the order, that sense of order and concentration. So, children need to be encouraged to be independent in every aspect of their life. Because
okay,
one day, Liliana, right, they're going to be 18 and they're off to college or university and then they've moved on. And of course, you want them to give back to their community and
yeah,
society. And it starts now. That independence starts now. I know we talked about it. I think it was with concentration that we talked about, where you're giving them that that
space, yeah,
concentration, that space where they can go
yeah,
to a supermarket. You're giving
okay,
them
yeah,
$5, and you're saying, okay, I need you to buy bread and butter. And they
yeah,
go into the supermarket and they look and they're like, the butter is the $5 won't fit butter and bread. What do
yeah,
I do? And your child starts to think like, okay, maybe I can buy a smaller butter, a cheaper butter that
right,
is that will be cheaper so that it can fit the $5. Then your child is thinking, but mom and dad don't like that particular butter, so I need to make sure that, okay,
I see,
I need to go back and ask. Right away, in that situation, the supermarket, Liliana, is the environment that you've already prepared for the
right,
child.
right,
You've given them that independence to go in with boundaries, right? With boundaries, with that $5, with
yeah,
boundaries to go in and make decisions on their
right,
own. That
right,
sense of order is playing a role. They're concentrating in that environment. Discipline is coming in. There's a
right,
sequence being played. They're taking that independence step into what do I do next? What are my next decisions? So for most parents that have younger children, when you're setting up a paint area at home,
right,
um, you know, if you're setting up a paint area and you don't just put a piece of paper on top of your beautiful dining table, right? And say,
Yes.
here, paint, go ahead, do your artwork. No, you will plan, okay, I'm going to set up a place outside, put one tarpaulin on the floor, get them to paint on
Yes.
top of it. Right away, you didn't tell the child, look, I'm putting the tarpaulin here because you always drop the paint. No, none of that. What you're doing here with independence is you're setting up an environment for the child, no matter what age. Okay, I'm giving you the painting for early childhood age group, and I've given you giving money to maybe an elementary or middle school or high school level a child you may have. So the environment for the little child is the tarpaulin area with the paint. So the child knows the paint can't come away from that area. I only paint in
Right.
there. Your
Right.
child has gone into the supermarket. I have $5. I need to make this worth it and get the bread and the
Right.
butter. I need to make a decision. So what you've done is you've given that space for them, that independence to go in and make decisions on their own. And when they come out, Liliana, they feeling that they've achieved something and they're controlled. They've controlled their actions on how
Right.
they've responded to those situations. Now, I know some of us, the child may come out of the supermarket with nothing, right?
Yes.
And you're like, I told you to buy look at the line. We can't wait anymore. Like the time is going. You should have
Yes.
just figured out right then and there. You make a decision as a parent. You're still in that environment. Always think of it. Okay, I'm in a shopping environment. Switch it. Okay, I know you didn't buy it. Next time this happens, just find a butter that mom and dad like, or we all enjoy at home. These are the brands. This is the butter you can work alongside. The bread, we can always stop at the Chinese shop that's near home. If the bread is too expensive,
I
don't worry
think.
about it. Just get the butter because the butter is not at the shop close to our
Right.
house, so we can't get it. So right away, your child is strategically planning, sense of order, how to plan next time the situation might occur, and slowly there's this initiative of discipline coming in. And
Yes.
so every time that supermarket situation comes up, you're not spending every time going, last time this happened, you did it again. Now you're doing it again. Now you're doing it again. Your micromanaging comes in. So that's
Yes.
where the independence needs to come in. They're taking initiative. You've created a routine that they are in charge of. At the end of it, their feeling of achievement comes in.
Yes.
They've controlled that action that they were supposed to execute and in that
Yes.
environment. And so independence is not too deep, but it's more of what do I say? It's a call for action. Independence is the
Right.
call for action. It's like, okay, parents, now you know about O, C, and D. Independence is the time to step
Yes.
into action.
Right. Release.
Release, get in there, get
Yes.
involved. Every environment, make sure to think of it as environments. Don't think of it as another challenge or another situation, but think
Right.
of home. My home is an environment. Supermarket is environment. In the car, please. I know it's difficult. In the car is an environment also.
Right.
And so that concentration that we're talking about for some of us that have so many children, that independence plays a vital role too in the car. Switch off
Yes.
your phones, have a conversation in the car,
Right.
get to know your child more, like what we were talking about in discipline.
Yes.
Not that you're pulling out the road where you tell, hey, keep quiet, we're trying to I'm talking to your father and you're busy yelling at the back.
Yes.
Get
Yes.
them, involve them into the conversation, hear that little independence coming in where they go, hey mom, I know you said we're going to the supermarket, but you said we have to buy bread, and because of curfew, the bread is usually out of stock by 4 o'clock when we're going to come back. Should we just stop at the
Right.
supermarket? Right away, Liliana, you start to see that independence just
Yes.
blossom. And you sit
Yeah.
back and Ole, sorry, I get so teary when it comes to children.
Yeah.
And you sit back and you see, wow, I've just invested that
Yes.
small time, and what it's done for this child is that this is a lifetime investment. When this
Yes.
child goes abroad to study, when he goes to boarding school, maybe QVS or RKS, he will
Yes.
these OCDI will be so instilled in your child that he can independently make decision, and his sense of order, concentration, and discipline will carry through all the way through his whole life. And it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And I suppose when those things happen, we need to remember to commend them, right? We need to
Yes, please
make some noise about it, and
make
not just
noise when that
because
happens.
yeah, because I've met so many, and I think my daughter sometimes is like that. Like, and I am
Mhm.
a lot like that because it's like you're always trying to do something to get that, attention or that
Right.
praise from your parents. And my
Yes.
dad was a soldier, and so he was very
Wow.
militant, and so
Okay.
he instilled a lot of order.
Yes.
And I like order. Even now,
Yeah.
I like order. My brothers are a little bit different. Some were a little bit crazy, but I liked it. But I
Right.
remember with him, it's kind of like it's for him. It's like this is the way it should be. I don't need to say,
Mm.
like to come out and be overly. And I think that's just maybe from that generation as well.
Right.
But I can see the value in doing it. When you're talking
Mm.
about this, I can think of different examples in my own son's life, and it's just
Yes.
reminding me to cut some things out,
Yes.
to continue doing some things. I often think
Yes.
that and for those who are listening, like try to just bring this into your own situation. What are some things
Yes.
that you need to stop
Yes.
immediately? Some things that are really not helping our children, harming them
Mm.
even. And then
Mm.
what are some things you can start? And I always like to suggest to people, please don't write a huge list that is going to be really difficult for you to
No,
achieve, because
exactly.
that will just you'll get very discouraged because you
It
won't be
will
able to do
be.
everything. So
No,
even if it's one thing, even
one
if it's the
thing.
example of the rubbish that is
Mm.
just, because that rubbish can actually bring in independence, it can bring in
So much.
concentration, it can bring in
So
order,
much.
all of it together, and discipline.
Mm.
So let just one thing. And
Just
I
one
really
thing.
like how you talked about setting up, because when we've been through OCDI, right? So this is the
Mm.
last one. So we said, okay, for order, that's initiated by the parent.
Right.
So the parent puts in order, creates this
Yes.
sense of order.
Yes.
And then we have the concentration and the discipline, which is from the child. We
Mm-hmm.
nurture it because it's already
Yes.
in them. We give
Yes.
them the space to bring that out. And
Yes.
then now for independence, that's from us again. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
So we
It's
back to
from
the
you.
parents.
You
Yeah.
you you create the environment, but you
Yes.
step away. You don't
Yes.
micromanage that. Yeah.
Yes. But we facilitate that. So
You
we're like, we
facilitate.
give
That's
them the
exactly it.
opportunities. Like we said, okay,
Yes.
release. We've been through this.
Release.
Okay, you go and do it. And then
You
we will
go.
commend you.
Uh-huh.
I think it's beautiful. And then overlaying all of that. And I think when you talked about the freedom, that
Mm,
just wraps it together. We
it
need to
does.
give them the freedom. We need to give ourselves some freedom as well. I think
Yes.
we're bringing these old ideas, or the ideas we think we
Mm,
know, that come from wherever, our
yeah.
worldviews that we were brought up with.
Yeah.
But now, because we didn't know all of this stuff,
Yeah.
right?
And it's
But
and it's never too late to learn, right, Liliana? When you
never
hear
too
something,
late.
it's beautiful.
It's never too late. And then
Never
I
too
think
late.
one important thing, Temesia, to
Mm,
to just round this all up is we need to
right.
remember. I always tell myself, I'm not raising if you take my son, for example, he's 11.
Mm,
I'm not raising a boy, I'm raising a father, I'm raising
yes.
a husband. And
Yes.
so when you think about it that way, that's really
Yes.
helped me just change the way I
Yes.
try and do things. This
Yes.
is a father and a husband. And when I pray for him, I often pray that he already praying for his
Yes.
spouse and that he'll be a great
Yes.
husband. And I've noticed it comes out in his language as well. So because
Yes.
he cooks, he bakes, he moves around the kitchen, and so he
Yes.
says, "Oh, I can't wait to cook for my family. I can't
Yes.
wait." So I think a lot of that comes from the words we are speaking to them.
Yes.
It's a very natural place, but that's what
Yes.
they're being prepared for. They're not only
Exactly.
fathers and husbands, but they're the
Mm,
leaders of our country tomorrow.
yeah.
So it's
And
so
that's your little
beautiful.
concentration moment, right? Where you're just
Yes,
sitting down and exploring and daydreaming with God, and
yes,
all of these ideas come
absolutely.
around. That's so cool, Lillian. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, well, sometimes I just need to cut it short because when I daydream, this is what happens. We end up having a show, and then we end up having, oh yeah, let's do some more series and let's
Let's
do
do
this.
this.
Okay, let's do this. Let's save the world. Yeah.
I love
Would you
it.
like to add anything else? This is we're all finishing off now. It's our last
Oh
session for
man.
these resources. Do you want to add anything before we finish off?
I think it's just putting out there that, a challenge for all the parents, take it
Yeah.
on. Don't be overwhelmed with it all, if you're starting a list now, don't worry about it, but just integrate it into your daily routine at home as with your family. And
Yes.
I know, some of you are probably saying, yeah, but I've got like so many children. I've got probably 5, 8. We all live in a small space. It's okay. Just get
Yes.
it in there. Just start with one thing. I'm
Yes.
certain in this next few months,
Yes.
once you take on this challenge for you and your husband, or if you're a single dad or a single mom, or if you're
Yes.
a caregiver looking after children during this time, take it on. It's a beautiful challenge because I know that not only will the children you are looking after, are investing in, will be enriched, but I know that you will start to see, wow, once I did this, I've had so much time to just have some me time and just
Yes.
enjoy.
No,
Because you need to live too.
yes. And so that's what we're going to do to help everyone, Temesia. And
Mm,
thank you for bringing that up. We're going to create, we're going to set up an environment
wow.
so that we can have so that parents can start to practice this. Let's get
Yes.
alongside each other. We don't want to say, okay, go and run along and do it yourself. We're all
No.
learning things. Let's
Yes.
do it together. Let's try
Yes.
this together. Okay. So we will be doing a Life with Liliana Parent Challenge.
Oh, wow.
Did I just say that
Exciting.
out loud? Did I say that out loud? Okay. So then I hope the team is listening, guys.
There's a parent challenge.
Yes. Life with Liliana Parent Challenge. Let's do it.
Yes.
So, Temesia, thank you so much for your time. I know you got a lot on, and we do appreciate the time you give us at Life with Liliana. Thank you so much.
Vinaka.
All right. See you later. Bye.